5-Minute Salute. I'm your host, Chris Budihas. Today's segment is sponsored by the Military Affairs and Veterans Department, City of Jacksonville. Harrison Conyers' a team taking care of our veterans with the benefits they earn through their military service. Talking about veterans, we got Bobby Wynne with Rising Tides Studios. Bobby, how are you?
Thanks for having me, Chris. I'm great. I appreciate everybody's patience with all the technical difficulties. I work at a tech company. I should understand this stuff.
It's overrated. Don't worry about it. So, hey, let's get into a couple things about you so the audience knows who you are. So, where are you originally from? And obviously, we can see your sweatshirt. What you do in the Navy?
Yeah, so I'm from Zionsville, Indiana, which is where I founded my company and where I am at right now. In the Navy, I was class of 2011. And I served as a surface warfare officer for 7 years out of Yokosuka, Japan, UAE, and then Washington, D.C.
That's excellent. So you left service, and how did you make this pivot into this space of Rising Tide Studios?
Yeah, so me and my company mates at the academy, we stay together because we play video games together. And I got out of the Navy, went to University of Chicago's business school. And I thought that I was going to go be a consultant or a banker. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, and I still don't. But Activision, Blizzard, and Riot Games came to campus, and they recruit MBAs. And so I spent all of my interview points. You get interview points to essentially try to buy an interview. I spent all of my points on getting an interview at Activision, Blizzard. I bought like $300 worth of merch to wear to like my 2 interviews. And I somehow convinced them to give me an internship at the Call of Duty Endowment, which was run by a U.S. Naval Academy graduate and veteran, Dan Goldenberg. Shout out to Dan. And that's how I got my foot in the door into the video game industry. And then I worked at Activision mostly on Call of Duty for 3.5 years. And then it's a long story, but I essentially left Activision and started a studio with a Chinese partner. It's a U.S. corporation, and our aim is to make East Asian role-playing games that have global appeal. And very esoteric, but
that is
a lot
amazing.
of parallels to military service.
Yeah. No, it's amazing, right? So I was just talking to our producers here who are a little bit younger than me. Matter of fact, a lot of years younger than me. And this gaming thing, you look back, so when I was growing up, I was in my teens, Atari came out. And then, that's ancient history, right? And now you look at where gaming is and where it's going, and the fact that all of our service have gaming teams, and then you see the extension of gaming into not only training, but war gaming and all the other functions that you have in DoD. So this is a phenomenon that is taken across not just in the entertainment space, but well beyond that. So you're right in the middle of this. So Rising Tide Studios, So what are you guys working on now, and where do you look into the launch here in the future?
Yeah, so in the video game industry, you're really quiet about your products until you're ready to announce.
Okay.
Our project's name is Project Great Wall, which isn't the most creative project name, but our game takes place in and around the Great Wall of China during the 17th century, and it's a mix of Chinese history and mixed in with Western characters. So part of my whole shtick with our IP we're trying to make is to put in authentic Western characters that existed in China in these time periods. But our first product, we're going to be announcing our studio about 2 weeks after this interview's recorded, and then our game announce will probably be later this year, TBD, and we'll be on market. Look for us next year.
That's excellent, man. Congratulations on creating this studio and what you guys are doing. So for those out there, there's other people trying to push into this space. What's your value proposition between you and your competition?
So a few things. One is cost basis. So the average man month at a AAA studio, they're called, in Southern California, can run as high as $18,000, $20,000 per month.
Wow.
And our cost basis right now, which I shouldn't be proud of because we're all seed stage startups. All of us are. In Chinese, they call it sure cool. We're eating bitters. Our average man month right now is approximately $4,300. So from a cost basis, obviously, talent, especially with the proliferation of tools, now Unreal Engine, which you have heard of, you can download and start getting to work on video games in Kuala Lumpur or Chengdu. You could download these tools and start getting to work. And the level of knowledge that is permeated across, especially East Asia and China, there are more developers in China than the United States and EU combined in the video game industry, and there's lots of pockets of actual serious talent. So that's the first proposition. The second value proposition is that, the team I have, and they're not known in the West, but these are the best developers in China for what we're trying to make. And then the third value proposition is just the zeitgeist of my generation, and especially Generation Z. They're much more open to East Asian-based content. You think of the popularity of anime, the popularity of Eastern intellectual properties. I could jet off a bunch to you, but they might be little. But Genshin Impact came out a couple years ago, and it's made billions of dollars in the U.S. and EU. Every year there's a new. Last year was a huge video game that came out called Black Myth Wukong, which is about Journey to the West, which is a very famous, kind of like Arabian Nights, I guess you could compare it to. And it sold 28 million copies, mostly in China. But it's now competitive with, if you've heard of the franchise God of War or Tomb Raider, China is now making God of War or Tomb Raider type games for 1/3 of the development cost. And why not leverage that talent and that vision to create something that's actually compelling to Westerners from the start? It's like my value proposition to the company.
Man, thanks for those 3 points. Not lost on me. That is huge in market competition, and also the value to the customer or client in using your device. What you're creating, and then your follow-on. It's not lost on me. You're going to have a plethora of other games that will come over, in due time and space as you guys continue to scale. So Bobby, thanks for your service to the nation. Thanks for what you did for keeping us free, because obviously you didn't do that, we couldn't do this here today. And man, thanks for your inspiration for what you've created here with Rising Tide Studios. This is amazing. I'd love to have you back on Tech Champions in a couple months after you guys are either getting ready to launch or after you launch, to kind of tell that story and tell us about how you kind of made that career change to being the entrepreneur that you are today.
Thanks, Chris. And I always want to give a shout out that if any veterans are thinking about getting in the video game industry, I'm always happy to take a call. Hit me up on LinkedIn. I always take a call with any veteran that wants to break in the industry. So let's pay it forward, guys.
That's awesome. Bobby, thanks for that call for action. So one last question. How do people find Bobby Wynne, and then how do they find Rising Tide Studios?
So if you just type in LinkedIn, Rob Wynne, studio founder, I'll be the first LinkedIn that comes up, and it's me smiling in my corpo suit, smiling. We're going to be announcing the studio. When does this air, Chris?
This is going to air probably on Monday. 48 hours, 72 hours.
Okay, then in a week and a day after this airs, we're going to announce our studio with a website, and you can find it from my LinkedIn. But please follow our game. There's going to be a lot of information coming out, and I think you're all going to really like what you see. So very excited to share this with the world finally, Chris.
Awesome. Well, hey, Bobby, thanks again, and I look forward to staying in contact with you.
You as well, Chris. Please do.
Awesome. Well, I'd encourage you, first of all, if you're not motivated, I'm not sure you're awake. So take a look at Bobby and I on LinkedIn. We'll have to continue the conversation. Be prepared for that launch with Rising Tide Studios and all the great things they're going to do in this space. An American-made company doing great things. And I appreciate Bobby's call for action for, a veteran ready to help other veterans, and then the call to action for other veterans to do the same, to kind of give back, because we got a lot of veterans that are kind of in need or just have lots of questions, and I think we can all answer them if we choose to. So I'll see you in our next segment, and a little gratitude.
When they leave us for battle, we await their return. When their embrace is gone, we imagine them with us. Some don't come back. We grieve. Some come back hurting. We help. Heroes survive. We honor them. Heroes fall. We remember them. 150,000 veterans live in Jacksonville. We serve them. We're the Military Affairs and Veterans Department, City of Jacksonville. Because of them, our light never dims.